My name is Deputy Fire Chief Jim Puleo, P as in Paul, U-L-E-O. With me today is Chief Ron Sellon, S as in Sam, E Echo, L-L-O-N, November, Mansfield Police Department. Deputy Police Chief Kenneth Sprague, Massachusetts Transit Police. You're gonna have to spell your last name.
S-P-R-A-G-U-E.
Okay, as an update, last night, somewhere around midnight, Mansfield Public Safety started receiving calls of a possible accident involving a train in the vicinity of Otis Street and Gilbert Street. People arrived on scene to find a train that had struck a vehicle. The scene itself, the emergency scene itself, is spread over a large area, as you can imagine. The train was carrying passengers. Mansfield Fire Department, with the assistance of Mansfield Police Department, evacuated those passengers. The scene is ongoing. It's a tremendous amount of work that still needs to be undertaken, and there's even more facts of this whole incident that we simply do not know at this time. So we still have an ongoing rescue and recovery effort that involves our technical rescue assets. Those men are working in a heavily wooded area under very difficult conditions, and that's going to take quite some time. I'd like to turn it over now to Chief Sellon for any additional factors on the police side.
As the deputy said, it is a fluid investigation. It is ongoing. It is over a protracted area of land, which in a very heavily wooded area, which means that it's making the recovery efforts and the investigation extremely difficult. Deputy Chief Sprague has a prearranged statement that he's just going to read, giving you all an update on with regards to that.
Good afternoon. Investigators from the Transit Police, Mansfield Police, Bristol County District Attorney's Office, and the Amtrak Police are on scene. At this time, members of the Mansfield Fire Department Tech Rescue are recovering 3 occupants from the motor vehicle. As the Chief and the Deputy Chief alluded, the area of impact is located in a densely wooded area, making the recovery operation difficult. Trains are still running on an adjacent track, however, service is heavily impacted. We can't confirm 3 bodies have been located. Investigators are attempting to locate the access point of the vehicle as we speak.
Deputy, while you were there, Craig and I haven't covered this until today. Was this in a cellar, or was this regular commuter rail, Amtrak commuter rail?
This is an Amtrak regional.
Regional? And what speed are they generally traveling? I know the cellar can go very fast.
Track speed in this area is 125 miles per hour.
So with the train going, is that the cause for the wide area of your investigation?
That's correct.
Is there a point where was it a truck? Is there a point where this truck could have gained access to the tracks nearby to where the impact area was, or had it traveled some distance?
The investigators are still working on that as we speak. That's still part of the ongoing investigation.
Where did the truck gain access to the tracks? How did it end up on the track?
That's what investigators are working on as we speak.
There are, just as a point of reference, there are multiple access points all along the tracks for miles. There are multiple locations that the vehicle could have gained access to the tracks. So we're trying to, again, figure out exactly which one of those locations is where they came in on.
Do you know what direction the truck was traveling in when it was struck?
North towards Boston.
Deputy, is it, again, just provide people mind, is it safe to say that the impact created a large debris field for you guys? Is that what I'm picturing here? I mean,
That's correct.
I know the transit police said at first it was 2, and then you said it was 3. Was there any reason why it increased, or was it just in the course of the investigation?
In the course of the investigation, it's a very big area down there.
I have a question for Deputy Julio. Sorry.
Sir?
Just if you wouldn't mind sharing with us, to the degree that you can, the challenge that was presented in getting access to the wreckage and removing the victims in somewhat the best way possible.
I'm sure you're all familiar with railroad tracks. It's ballast is loose gravel, large stones, railroad ties. heavily wooded area, a swampy area, in the dark of night. Also covering an extremely long distance. Equipment had to be first hand carried. Amtrak and transit were able to get us assets to put an automobile on the railroad tracks to help us carry equipment into where the initial scene is, which is very far from here actually. So logistically, very difficult, very physically demanding, a lot of trip hazards, a lot of the debris field, as you can imagine, is quite large and varied. So there's cut hazards and stuff like that. In addition to this section of the railroad is electrified. So we had to wait for confirmation before we could get too heavily involved that the electrical supply to the overhead catenary system was cut down, which is not damaged. It had to be disconnected by railroad employees. So the logistics chain is long. The risk to rescuer is high. This is what we call a low frequency, high risk event. So we really have to plan it out and take some time.
So what are we talking about, a mile maybe from where the initial impact was to where the recovery was?
You know what? I'm thinking pretty close to a mile. The scene is quite large. We haven't measured it. I quite frankly don't know the distance, but my members are reporting hiking in at least 3/4 of a mile to the location, and we're at least that far or further where we stand now. So it's pretty remote. As far as the stretch of tracks that go through Mansfield, this is the most difficult area in town for us to access.
Did the train engineer or conductor, were they able to brake at all? Did they see this truck on the track?
I'm going to defer that to transit because I don't know.
That's still all part of the investigation. I have no doubt that the engineer, when he realized that there was a vehicle that had followed the right of way, put the train into an emergency situation, and I think that may have been part of the reason that the train derailed.
But you have been able to determine that truck was traveling north along the tracks, is that right?
That's correct.
Did it stall on the track, or did it just happen to hit it?
The investigators, that's still part of the ongoing investigation.
You're facing that way. I couldn't hear what you said about the truck on the tracks.
I can't confirm that it was a truck at this time, quite honestly.
You don't know if it was a pickup truck and SUV.
I don't know that at this time.
Deputy, is it interesting, at least to me, that the train did not derail going high speed and hitting a somewhat heavy object, whether it be a car or a truck? Is that lucky for you, or is that?
No, the train did derail. It did derail, yes. The front truck on the engine did derail. That's what's taken the operation so long. We got to get the train back up on the tracks.
Deputy, do we know where the pickup truck gained access to those tracks? Is it in Attleboro, or we don't know yet?
We don't know. That's what the investigators are working on as we speak.
Any basic information on the victims, like gender or their approximate age?
We have 2 males and 1 female.
Do you have an approximate age?
We don't.
Any reason to believe there was anyone else in the car besides the three, or are they the only occupants?
Not at this time.
Do we believe they're related to each other?
We don't have any information.
Is there any surveillance video of the entrances to the tracks in the town?
Not that I'm aware of. It's in such a densely populated area. I don't.
And I mean, what is the location of the impact? I mean, can you say what cross street it's closest to?
I would say it was between.
School Street.
Yeah, between Gilbert Street and School Street.
Gilbert and School?
Correct.
So
Does
would it be fair to
NTSB get
say
involved
right
in
now
anything like
that
this?
I'm sorry?
Does NTSB get involved in anything like
The
this?
Federal Railroad Administration is on scene as we speak.
would it be fair to say that it appears that this vehicle was trying to outrun the train? It's not as though it was stopped, stuck, or waiting to be hit by.
I don't have the answer to that. That's an ongoing investigation. Folks, that's all we have for right now. Thank you for your patience.